on February 23. Our church celebrates the feast day of St Gorgonia. The following are some details of her life and works. The patriarch of Gorgonia's noble family was St Gregory the Elder, Bishop of Nazianzos, whose wife St Nonna bore 3 children, the greatest of whom was St Gregory the Theologian, one of the 3 hierarchs, as well as another son, Gesadios, whose feast day is observed on March 29, and last but not least, St Gorgonia, who had to content herself with dwelling in the shadows cast by her spiritually giant brothers. As though to prove her mettle, the gentle Gorgonia led an active life, but was plagued by illnesses which taxed her considerably, but never interrupted her ceaseless efforts on behalf of the Saviour. Because she was never robust, it is to her everlasting credit that she was able to keep pace with her stronger brothers and parents through sheer grit and determination that belied her physical weakness. Encouraged by a family she loved, she became a devout Christian who applied herself diligently to charitable work. Gorgonia was all the more remarkable since she did not abandon society for an hermit's life. On the contrary, she became a wife and mother, raising 3 children while still serving Christ. Her purity of heart and depth of devotion were to be seen in everything she did, while her charitable activities earned her several names, including Mother of Orphans, Eyes of the Blind, and Keeper of a Refuge of the Poor. Known as the House with the Open Door, her home was a haven and beacon for those in need, for whom she somehow found the means to help. In keeping with the Lord's admonition to let not your left hand know what the right hand is doing, she sacrificed for others, but in so doing sought to seek no credit. A legend in her own time, she loomed larger than life to those about her, who watched with loving eye as she sought to her many ministrations. There were witnesses enough, as well as recipients of her sweet charity, to attest to her genuine humility in doing God's work with such tender benevolence that she could have been sainted at any time. There were many instances when Gorgonia was favoured by God as few women are. On one occasion when she was driving her not too sturdy cart in her rounds for the poor, her horse suddenly bolted and she was thrown to the ground. But as witnesses came running to help, certain that she had been fatally injured, she got to her feet none the worse for the experience, but for the several bruises on her frail body. She was given more reliable transportation and continued making her calls as though nothing had happened, despite the fact that she was as much in need of care as those for whom she was caring. After returning home, she simply knelt in prayer and thanked God for her deliverance. On another occasion, while attending people suffering from a highly contagious fever, which had reached epidemic proportions, Gorgonia was herself stricken, and for several days lay near death. With scarcely more than water, she wavered between life and death, praying only that God's will be done, when she began to recover. When the fever had gone, she found the strength to go out again among those desperately ill, and to the amazement of all, the mysterious malady ran its course, and the epidemic was over. The hand that had spared her also spared the community. Unable because of her sex to ascend the pulpit and preach, Gorgonia was content to address informal groups, forming ladies' auxiliaries which are today the very heart of the Greek Orthodox Church. She literally spent her time in carrying out the mission of the Church, spreading the love of the Saviour through her acts of charity. But her health began to fail rapidly, and after having a vision in which heaven was beckoning, she called her family around her, and after offering them her blessing, she died on February 23.